Hey, Mitch.
How you doing, Gary?
Doing pretty well. Welcome to joining the conversation again. This week it's you and I. Steven's taking a much needed break this week. So thank you for joining again. This is 2 weeks in a row for you.
Of course. Where are you calling in from?
I am in Meldorf, Germany right now.
Okay.
Appreciate, yeah, working remotely has been fun. Working remotely in Germany's been really nice because the Euro's taking place here right now, which I didn't realize, but we were in Berlin when all the soccer games are going on there. They're still going on there. If you're a soccer fan, it's a good time to be in Germany. I'll say that.
That's awesome. I'm jealous, but we miss you back here. Can't wait to have you back.
I will be there in a few days. Okay, so let's get started on the docket this week. There's a few things that have been in the news, and then there's something that we've been talking about regarding a product that I want to touch on today. As I've been actually traveling, one of the things that I realized is like ServiceNow is a very wide ocean. Let's just say that. Maybe across the land. Let's keep that analogy going. And it can be overwhelming. And I've seen some conversations about how people stay up to date on both their different modules that they're doing. We're talking about platform analytics. So we're trying to educate people there. I have some thoughts on what activities I try to do to keep us up to date, but what are some of your strategies for trying to stay up to date just on the technology and the products that ServiceNow offers?
Yeah, it's sort of a two-pronged answer for me, just because before I worked with you and Steven, there was a heavier lift on myself. You guys do such a good job of staying up to date that I feel like you all are sort of my filters at times, which is great. It's also just very overwhelming if you try to stay up to date on everything in ServiceNow. Because if you think about all of the different products that every release, those things are changing. So if you try to keep up with every release note for every product, it's probably a losing effort. And my strategy has sort of shifted to focus on the platform updates. And then if we're trying to dig into a certain product that ServiceNow has, then you could kind of focus in and go all in on that. So I kind of try to look at the capabilities that are new or changing. And then if I need to, I go into an individual product. It has worked. Yeah, I'm sure I'm still not totally up to speed, but it's kept me afloat.
Yeah, I think that strategy is the right one. At VividCharts, we have a unique place where our application crosses the platform. So it's not like we're just vertical dependent. So your strategy applies to us very well. And then when you talk to people that are change management focused or demand focused or project management focused, those people often, their knowledge base is very vertically aligned. They don't need to know what other things are. So I think you're right.
Right.
I think we need to stay abreast of like platform capabilities. And then when customers and we have use cases that require us to go vertical. So I do think focus is the right thing up front. I will say, like the release notes, I think ServiceNow does a great job in the amount of information they put out. When you look at the community, the release notes, the product documentation, one of the best companies in the world, I think, at that. And then they have their whole now learning phase, which is as good as I've seen anywhere. So I think there's tons of opportunities. But I will say like, that's for going deep into a topic when I need to learn something and know I need to learn it. When I'm just trying to stay abreast of like the general chatter, the community, like the ServiceNow Slack is a good place. The Discord, which is non-official place. But if I'm honest, LinkedIn is where I see most of the news stuff. I see other ServiceNow industry people posting on like LinkedIn, and then I go dig in after I read their posts.
If people aren't on the ServiceNow Dev Slack or Discord and you work in ServiceNow, I feel like it's probably a missed opportunity. That's really where the experts are hanging out. And like you said, the chatter, that's where it's happening. I think I would recommend everybody at least join the Discord and join the ServiceNow Dev Slack, whether or not you're in there daily, maybe it's weekly, monthly, whatever it is. You can go get a digest, figure out what everybody's talking about. And those are two great spots to help keep up. And that also is like a community filter Like I talked about you and Steven being a little bit of my filter. If you don't have Gary and Steven on your team or right by you, that acts as that too.
When you're in the community, start to learn like, different people that specialize in areas or things like that. One of the original sources of information is the SN Guru blog. I don't know the whole history of it, but I know it's been around for a very long time. And one strategy that they've started doing recently is collecting contributors, different experts. And so I've seen Mark on LinkedIn posting, they're adding different leaders, thought leaders in ServiceNow to that. And so the content they're putting out, I think they're going to be a good filter for some of that too.
First, that reminds me when I was early in my career at Fruition Partners, somebody in the company had, I don't know if you knew this, that you probably did. I don't know if others know it, but with Google search specifically, you can create your own custom search and you could tell it which websites to search across. The SN Gurus was one of those websites. So at Fruition Partners, we had a link that was shared around a lot. It would bring up, it looks like Google search, but it's custom to what we wanted to look at. And you do your search and it would just be across, the docs, the community, SN Gurus, whatever it was. And that was really helpful. I kept using that post Fruition. Over time, it kind of wore out and, it was no longer as relevant, but maybe there's something there. Maybe we need to go configure our own custom search again.
Yeah, that's a good point, because it gets into a whole nother topic, which we'll probably touch on it briefly just in a second. But how do you train the AIs to give you back the information? So I use ChatGPT, quite a bit at work, and it's trained on everything on the internet. Like if I could just train AI specifically on the content that I wanted as some guru or the documentation, that'd be excellent. Okay, let's move on to the second topic here. Speaking of AI, this is just an interesting topic and thing that happened in the software world and technology world this week. NVIDIA, actually I haven't looked today, but NVIDIA for a moment, and maybe still is, became the largest market cap in the world, passing Microsoft. When you hear that, what is like your first just thought when you hear that phrase?
Pretty wild, without a doubt. Maybe not super surprising if you've been keeping up with the news. It is pretty insane though, especially because at the end of the day, it's a hardware company, right? Like they do more than that, but it's the hardware that's fueling this whole boom. I don't know if you saw this. This is like not really related, but kind of related. I saw a picture on LinkedIn of one of wherever Tesla hosts its super AI computers that are training its neural network. They installed these giant fans outside to create this insane cooling system for all the hardware, which I thought was pretty wild. But that's where we're at. Like, just tons running on NVIDIA.
Yeah, in the IT space, we have customers that are people that have managed these large data centers. It's nothing I've ever done. Super interesting. One of the things that I think about, we've talked about AI in the past and where our position on that, so we don't need to go over that. When we were at Knowledge 24, Jensen from NVIDIA was there again. Him and McDermott had their interviews again. I think that's the thing that just makes me feel comfortable, is that ServiceNow clearly is connected to the right people trying to do the right things in AI. So I don't know all of the strategy that they have planned, but I do feel comfortable that ServiceNow is doing the right things, even if I don't know. I have trust in that. And I think them being so tightly partnered with NVIDIA just gives me comfort.
Imagine a company like ServiceNow trying to get into that today. Yeah. Jensen's going to say, hey, we'd love to work with you, but all of our chips were spoken for.
Okay, let's move on to the last topic, which is on our product. I started a video series just last week or maybe a week and a half ago talking about our viewer. The viewer is where people read our reports. The easiest way to say it. It's the part of the application when you share a report out, it's what the person goes to see it. And one of the things that we're trying to do is rethink the delivery aspect of how we think about and how we optimize delivering reports to your stakeholders. Because, a couple weeks ago on LinkedIn, I posted that delivering your report is as important as the content of the report. Kind of the old saying that like a tree falls in the woods doesn't make any sound, right? If you're building all these reports and you have hundreds of reports that you've built, if no one's reading them, do they really have an impact? I'll stop right there really quick and just like, can you just speak to your thought? You're the one who coined the 3D phases, right? When you think of delivery, why was that so important to you in the very beginning of VividChart?
There's a good chance they never get it. And then what's the point of the first 2Ds, the data and the design, if it's never delivered? And if you like any hurdle you put on the user to get to what they need is unnecessary. Some people will jump those hurdles because they're motivated. Some people might not even know they're out there, the hurdles to go jump. So like it might just be in the ether. So I think it's really important and obviously something we're focused on right now here at VividCharts across the board. But yeah, it's just brain dead. Like if you share a Google Doc with me and you forget to send me a Slack to say you shared it, if I didn't get the email saying you shared it, I would have no clue it existed. And it might have been something really important. So I think it's just a crucial piece of the 3Ds. It's the last mile. It's getting the people to what they need.
Yeah, and I think when I have conversations with people outside of my immediate circle in ServiceNow and I talk about VividCharts, I think we're pretty well known for our charts, like our design. People really, and I think Steven has also helped us, even up level that over the past year, but people love our design and they think we have a good design aesthetic. Thanks to people like you and Steven. With Vivid Sheets, we moved deeper into the data discussion. And so I think, naturally for us as a product team, we've always thought about delivery, but I think we're trying to even think now like, okay, how do we take the next step to make delivery even an easier thing for our customers? And so I just open that discussion here because I know we're thinking about it internally and open to anyone sharing thoughts they have for us if they want to reach out.
I do agree. I think historically we've been known for the design, but I think really what's let us help our customers is the data piece of what we've done from day one, the flexibility we bring with being able to even get to the data in the right way. And I think we have historically, I don't want to say overemphasized, but we're at a natural point right now where we feel better and better about the data and design. And now the next step is really drilling in on the delivery. Because I think our model historically has really serviced the people who are going to be working and building in VividCharts and Vivid Sheets, but not so much the end user who's going to be consuming that. So I think it is a very natural point. And I think it also ends up helping the people who build those things too, because it takes a burden off of the change management to, train people how to get to these things they've created. I think it's a pretty natural evolution for us.
Okay, well, we've went our time for this week, and I will be back in the office next week, and we'll have another conversation.
Looking forward to seeing you. Thanks, Gary. Safe travels.
Thanks, Mitch.